Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was Left for Dead by Team 7 guys. And found a Godlike clan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, yes, I indeed have 3 channels that I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All of the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and enjoy. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see when I post, because I do post a hell of a lot. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode? Let us begin now guys. So the last part we left off, Jiraiya was still looking for Tsunade and Naruto. It's been 2 years and a couple of months since he went on his journey to find them both. Since then, Danzo had taken the reins as the 5th Hokage of the village. The requirements for a ninja was extreme more than before. Even Sakura had to work extremely hard if she didn't want to be left out of the program. She hadn't seen Sasuke much, perhaps only 2 times in the past couple of years, as he's been taken under the wing of the Hokage. When she tried to ask questions, she was told that information was not privy to her, so she had no idea how he was doing, and the fact that Naruto was alive as well. The new Hokage had grilled her on information on what happened that day. She told him everything that she knew. Since then, that was the only time that she got to speak to him face to face, and she was terrified on that day. As for Naruto, he was starting to make his name rather known around the Elemental Nation, as he was going around eliminating all those who caused harm and death and chaos. There was a large slave trafficking ring that was being run, as some of the wealthiest and richest people went to these places to buy people like they were nothing but objects. As Naruto got there, showing off the new skills that he's practiced, Naruto was brutal, he was ruthless, he was deadly. Orochimaru believed that Danzo was coming after him, as more and more of his bases were being eliminated. He figured they knew that he had Tsunade, as he heard rumors that her apprentice had survived, something that he chastised Kabuto for, as Naruto was the one that was actually doing this though. Danzo sent his people to go and retrieve Naruto. Even without his blade, Naruto took on 4 elite root ninjas and beat the living crap out of them, eliminating 3 and sending 1 back, to tell the so-called Hokage that if he get in his way, he would come for him and kill them all. Naruto was not hesitating as he spoke. He made his way to go and find Orochimaru, as he was just waiting until the 3 Tails was reformed. However, Jiraiya was actually on the case as well, and for the first time since he met up with Naruto. His intention was not to bring him back right now because Tsunade was in there, and he had to get her home, knowing that Naruto would try to fight him, and the kid had gone through changes that he could only dream of, because how was he so old now? It didn't make any sense. So they teamed up. Well, Naruto disappeared the moment he went inside, leaving Jiraiya to fight the Sound 4 and many others, while Naruto made his way cutting down Sound Ninjas, one after another. When he came face to face with the Sannin, a battle of the ages took place. Orochimaru trying to outpace Naruto, trying to outdo him, but he realized that it was for naught. Because Naruto was simply stronger and faster than him, his power surged into new heights. Orochimaru tried to flee away, but Naruto's flash step made him at least 10 times faster as he reached the Sannin before he could escape. Naruto ended up encapsulating him in a black coffin, spearing the Sannin through. He had to shed to his true form. Trying to fight Naruto as such was just an idiotic idea, as Naruto released a special form that he entered by calling out the word release. His power skyrocketed to new heights, as Naruto released an attack that eviscerated quarter of the base and removed Orochimaru from the face of the earth, eliminating everything that he was and everything that he is. It wiped him away like it was nothing. Jiraiya wanted to stop Naruto, but he could not, as he freed Tsunade from her restraints. He had to get her to safety. She was unconscious, and Naruto simply flashed away, having felt the power that he marked fully resurface. Upon arriving at the scene, Naruto went straight into the water, absorbing the power of the three tails. Much easier when it was in a person. Once that was said, Naruto made his way back to the surface, as Rita could feel it as well. She could feel Naruto's emotions because of their link, because of their psychic bond. She was feeling all the stressful feeling that he was going through for the past 2 years and couple of months. But now he was happy because things was back on track. However, someone showed up to Naruto, a spiritual being similar to what he was right now. But this being was not spiritual because of power, but spiritual because he was dead. It was none other than Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths. As Naruto gazed up towards him, already knowing who exactly he was. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So we'll see you in this new episode. Two of the most powerful beings was currently facing one another. One dead, one in between life and death itself. It was complicated, being what he was. A being that never existed before. Something that is not bound by the laws of this universe or reality itself. Because his existence was not bound by anything. A spectral inside of a system that was beyond the entire system itself. Hagoromo looked at such being. The Sage of Six Paths, a man that the world believed was a god, stated to have created the very moon, a feat that no ninja could possibly live up to. However, Naruto wasn't exactly a ninja. "You've been watching me," said Naruto, being the one to speak first. "I was wondering when you would show yourself to me, knowing that my eyes are the only ones that can witness you. There are no properties on this planet that gave you a foothold here, but I can see spirits, and I can see you rather clearly." "So, speak," said Naruto. The sage spoke. "Your assessment is correct. I have been keeping an eye on you ever since you fell in that seal and did something that no other being was ever supposed to do. Break through to the other side. A prison that would have kept until the rest of eternity. And now you're back. Your mind diluted, corrupted by that woman. Your actions, your whole being controlled. She's turned you into something that never existed before. And now you're at her disposal, with your sole intention to free her. You have no idea what the consequences of doing that will bring down on this world. Just like thousands of years ago, she wanted to keep mankind stagnant, weak, manipulated, and under her control. bending their will, their compassion, their emotion to her use, making her and her clan stronger with the power of the entire world. All of the dead sacrifices, their souls being drawn to her and her clan, empowering her, making her a being that transcends what she is right now. Her goals have not changed. Her actions have not changed. And if you free her, there will be nothing and no one will be able to stop her this time. Absolutely no one. You're just as naive as when you thought that chakra would have bring peace instead of chaos. The sage eyes narrowed as he looked towards Naruto. I thought the aspect of becoming a spiritual being wouldn't change me a lot, however. It has more than I could ever imagine. My outlook on this world, on life, has changed so drastically. I'm sure if it was a few years ago, my younger self would be scared of the things that are coursing through my mind. But unlike him, I've seen the true face of humanity. I've seen the true face of power, and there is nothing that can fix it. Absolutely nothing. The strong rule and the weak suffer, time and time again. 3 great ninja wars, clan fighting clan, massacres over the years. Can you count the amount of people that died unnecessary over the past few years? Children that were put to war. For what? Land? Money? Power? And that's because of you. So don't you dare stand there and act like you're the righteous one in all of this. You are nothing but a naive, idiotic fool who believed that the heart of mankind could be tamed with power. Just because you are half human doesn't make you an expert on knowing what is inside of your heart. Your own son was corrupted by darkness. And even then, did you really think there would be a salvation? Thousands of people going down the line. The reincarnation of your children. I've seen it all. During my transition, I met a being that is far superior to you. A being that sacrificed himself for his children, knowing that what they did was on them and not on him. In that time, I was able to see not just the human world but the spirit world as well. And I saw the history. I saw creation. I saw destruction. And I saw everything your action did. Your spirit has not passed on. Because of the power you once wield, you still are linked to this world. Your very soul is bind to this earth, watching over it as a guardian, and yet, over the thousands of years, how much has your soul taken? Watching your gift be passed down through generation and generation, countless people waging war and killing one another. Mankind is broken. It doesn't matter if there's peace. It will always turn back into bloodshed and chaos. The more I travel, the more I can see that the unspeakable things that the strong do to the weak, and no one can truly stop them. Power is all that matters. So why should I stand by and allow them to continue the way they're going? If stripping the power away from them by controlling them is the only option, then that is exactly what I'll do. You believe that what she's doing is what will change and break this world in your mind, but you have no idea what is going through mine, said Naruto as he stepped forward. Because I don't intend to stop at what she wants. I intend to take it a step further, said Naruto. His words shocked Hagoromo. There will be death. There will be chaos. There will be suffering, but in the end, all those that deserve to live in the world that I'm creating will live a life without chaos, tribulation, and trials that will break you from head to toe. I will create a world that you could have never created. And there is no one that can stop me, said Naruto. The sage was speechless. His body was not physical, but yet, as he looked down, Naruto's blade was through his chest. What have you done? He said. In my eyes, you're just as bad as those people that cause unnecessary chaos after all. You started this. Goodbye. Forever, said Naruto. As he twisted his blade, the sage released a violent scream. His body started to break apart into blue particles of light. Slowly he dissipated, his link to the mortal world vanishing as Naruto severed his connection, breaking the hold that his soul had on this earth. His blade vanished away as the sage was no longer there. Naruto then started to walk, making his way. Time skip. Given the powerful toxin inside of her body, it was a surprise that she was already back on her feet. Well, it shouldn't be to most, given who she was. Orochimaru had made sure that her mind remained in a subconscious state, unable to fully react, because even in a state of unconsciousness, Tsunade was able to force herself awake, her mind and body being trained over the past couple of years to affect in such a situation. It was the chakra that was circulating through that diamond in her forehead. It was quite a special piece of Fuinjutsu work. As they were back at the Hidden Leaf Village, she had to restrain herself from punching Danzo's head clean off. Having just returned from a meeting with him and Jiraiya, the Sannin was definitely not on Danzo's side. None of them were. However, the man has proven himself to be a capable Hokage who wanted her to return back to the village. And it wasn't a request, it was an order from the Hokage. Otherwise, she would be marked as a missing nin. The only reason why she was allowed to do what she did was because Hiruzen cared for her greatly. However, Danzo did not care one bit. However, so far being at the village, worried about her master, Shizune had thrown all of her actions into her work, and she had been quite productive. Tsunade, knowing the repercussions that would play once something is made on his part, as she would have to be running from Konoha as well. It was not something that she desired. Jiraiya told her to just stay put. He would be back soon because he was going to retrieve Naruto. She was confused on who that was, until he told her the story and what was going on. She too could see why Danzo would want to kill the boy and take the tail beast. She agreed reluctantly, as Jiraiya had pleaded with her. Despite her rogue actions to just leave and did not look back, she decided to stay until he returned, as she told him to hurry up. In the meantime though, she was working alongside Shizune. The first thing that they had to do was take that title away from Danzo. They had to find something on him. He was a very secretive and clever person, but given the amount of things that he was in and the amount of things that he did, he has to mess up. And the moment he did, she would take this public and strip that title away from him. It was better for anyone else to be the Hokage, just not him of all person. Jiraiya had kept the information to himself, not telling Danzo anything regarding Naruto killing Orochimaru. He knew how paranoid the man would become because of that information, sending his flunkies after him in waves. And Jiraiya did not want to risk it, so for now he would keep that information to himself. As he headed out, after all, if Naruto was by his side, Danzo would not dare make a move like what he was doing. So Jiraiya hit the road, hoping to run into Naruto once again, and this time to bring him back before things get a lot worse. Unfortunately though, a week later, things already reached critical stage. A lot of screaming could be heard, as the place was a mess. Purple flames, red flames, blue flames, yellow flames burned all over. Bodies were speared all over the place. It was pure destruction and chaos. A man, known as Shibuki, was bleeding heavily from his stomach, as his other hand was gripping onto his face that was leaking blood as well. He was wounded and in a bad state. Standing above him, looking down towards him like he was a maggot that he was going to snuff out, was none other than Naruto. Not knowing where the other Jinchurikis were, unless they used their abilities for him to sense it, he had to go old school, as he had to find out as much information as possible, dating back. Said information was kept in his mind, and he knew that Taki was one of them that possessed a Jinchuriki. He was going from the weakest to the strongest, and starting out with Taki was one of the weakest that was able to get into, already possessing the 1, 9, 3, and now 7 very soon. However, the girl was nowhere to be seen. He said "Fu" when Naruto questioned him. He told him that he wasn't here to fight, he just wanted the Jinchuriki, but they got in his way. And there was nothing in this world, no one in this world that will stop Naruto from achieving what he desired. So he brought death to their village. Death and chaos all around. Shibuki knew that he was about to die until, stop! She came running out, having fought off her protectors, the ones that Shibuki had put to her side to keep her safe. "Don't do this, just stop. I'll go with you," she said. The girl looked towards Shibuki. The man had been like a big brother to her. Her name was Fu, being the host of the Seven Tails. She knew the downsides of being a Jinchuriki, and there was a lot of them. She was always ready for the future. That is why she tended to live in the moment. Mint green hair and orange eyes. Realizing that this person was going to cause more death and chaos to her village and kill Shibuki was something she couldn't stand for. "No, Fu, run!" Shibuki said to her, "I can't run away anymore, because if I do, you're going to die," she said. Even if she tried to fight this person right here, even if she released the whole power of the tail beast, multiple people would still die in the chaos. So instead, she chose to sacrifice herself, stepping directly towards Naruto. At least, a way to get him away from the village. "I'll go with you." Before she could even say another word, Naruto's hand had already went through her stomach. Not physically, of course. Fu released a gutter scream as her body started to tremble vigorously. Her eyes widened as she shook uncontrollably. You could see the power leaving her, running out of her. When Naruto ripped his hand out a minute later, he contained a yellow orb in his palm. Fu crumbled down to the ground like an empty husk without a life. As Naruto turned his back and started to walk away, the orb in his hand, Shibuki stuttered out. "You'll die for this," he said. Naruto did not even stop. He just kept on walking. A few ninjas stumbled back to their feet, blocking the entrance that he had carved right through. As they came face to face with him, they moved. They moved away out of his path as Naruto continued walking until he was gone. It only took a week for rumors to spread as the Naruto name was put on the chopping block by Taki. Yes, he was someone that they wanted dead or alive, paying a great deal amount to bring his head, given the program that Danzo also put into play, with Naruto being hunted as well. A lot of people were coming for Naruto's head However, every single one of them that came and found him, well, they left with no life intact. As Naruto went straight to his next objective, he had already searched 2 of the islands. Upon searching the 3rd one, there was still nowhere to find him. Searching the 4th and then the 5th, when he came across a lucky break. The only reason why Naruto caught Utakata was because of Hodoro, his young apprentice. Determined to protect her and keep her safe, Utakata tried to repel Naruto, but he soon found that rather unavoidable. As a battle of the ages kick off between Naruto and the Six-Tailed hosts, Utakata bubbles were powerful, but he stood no chance in hell. The only one there to witness that battle, when the Kiri ninjas finally arrived after feeling the surge of violent energy, the only one that was left was Hodoro. The poor girl, shaking, alive but shaking on the ground, as she just watched her master be slayed. Moving towards Utakata unconscious form, there was no life in his eyes. His eyes were empty, nothing in them. He was dead, without a doubt. Another Jinchuriki taken. The description of Naruto was told to them, Hodoro wanting him to pay. As a pattern started to be sensed by the others, the leaders. He was hunting down the tailed beasts. Yes, he was. It was only a matter of time before he went directly after the great nations. 2 months passed by, as there was no sign of Naruto nowhere. Jiraiya was on the hunt. Jiraiya was also receiving news from his spies on what was going on, and things were getting worse than bad. If Naruto kept this up, Danzo would have every reason to put him down, seeing him as a threat. Damn it, Jiraiya curse, stopping in the forest, as he feel like he could do nothing to help the situation. Everything was going so bad, so goddamn quickly. It was frustrating, greatly so. Meanwhile that was going on, a meeting was taking place between one of the most powerful men in this world, because of the eyes that he wields, along with one of his subordinates, Sorcerer of the Red Sand. I want you to get your spy network in order and track down and find this assailant that is after the Jinchurikis. The leader spoke, no question in his tone, just an order given. Sorcerer nodded his head, as he would be doing that at once. Zetsu, a creature, half black and half white, was given the same objective, but he was the search, being their spy and all. Nagato wouldn't allow for this to stand. Those vortex vibrations that were going through the sky not so long ago, this person was the one behind it, and now they were after the tail beasts. For what purpose, Nagato did not know, but he couldn't stand by and allow this to happen without him putting an end to it. After all, it was up to him, yes, to fix this broken world, and having this poser going around, taking that ultimate power for himself, that was something he just couldn't allow. However, as they were dilly-dally, a man known as Roshi, the holder of the 4-tailed beasts, was currently situated within his home, one of the few forests that were nearby the hidden stone. There wasn't a lot, but one of the few. He did not live directly in the village. Roshi was a passive man, not wanting to be caught up in any war or chaos. However, he would fight to defend his own life. Other than that, he just wanted to be left alone. He had struck a deal a long time ago with the Tsuchikage, which worked out in both of their favors. Him being the oldest Jinchuriki to date, as he was cooking a pot of stew when he felt it. Roshi didn't bother to look up as he poured the stew in his bowl, as he started to eat. When he finally gazed up, he saw the person standing there, simply observing him. Naruto could not find the Jinchurikis that easily. However, being this close, he could feel the power coursing through his veins. It took him months just to track this one down. It was rather easy to enter the hidden stone, given the vast array of abilities that he possessed, which allowed him to gather information. Neither of the Jinchurikis were within the village. He had to be careful, that is why it took so long. It was rather suspicious right now to be asking about the whereabouts of the Jinchurikis. From what he's gathered, it seems that the Tsuchikage was going to make a move to recall them both. However, Naruto wouldn't allow that to happen. He could sense the Five Tails though. The Five Tails was transformed deep within a forest to the south. A remote, empty forest where it was running wild. He could feel its power from here. However, he came across this area. Finding the nearest person, he surmised that he was the one, and he was correct. Roshi placed down his stew as he got to his feet. I figure that you're the one they're talking about. Given your situation, I didn't think that you would be privy to such information, Naruto said calmly. Well, I still go into town once in a while. It took you long enough. 2 months. The Tsuchikage doesn't take you seriously. He doesn't really trust anyone, so he doesn't really trust their words either. I suppose. He's gonna have to believe in you now. But that doesn't matter because I'm not going to die here. And given that you're after the tail beast that is residing inside of me, you taking that would result in my death. But that is not something that I will allow right here and now. Is that so? You believe that your will is greater than mine to stop me from achieving what I desire? I'm an old man. My will is stronger than almost all. I've had a lot of time to build it up. However, if you want, why don't you go ahead and try? But it would be a shame to end your career right here and now. Naruto looked towards him amused. Do you believe me for some fool or something? That your words will make me afraid to want to run away? Naruto stepped forward. My goals are obtainable, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing in this world that will stop me. Not you or anyone else. Naruto dashed forward as Roshi dashed forward as well. Their hands clashed together. You're a strong one, huh? Roshi said, pulling back as he weaved. However, Naruto ducked. Stepping forward, Naruto went straight for the gut. Roshi tanked the punch. Gritting a bit, but he tanked the punch. He reached to grab Naruto's head, but Naruto pulled back. Roshi's hands slamming together. But the moment they did, they were encased in lava. He spun and slammed it across Naruto's face, launching Naruto towards the trees. Naruto slammed right through one of them. As I said Roshi, I'm not going to die today. However, he was interrupted as Naruto stood at his side. Roshi's eyes widened in shock. Perhaps it's your advanced age that gave you this better control over your powers than most others. But it still doesn't matter. Roshi swung his hand around, but Naruto reached up and literally caught it. Confusion marred Roshi's face until he noticed a substance that was coursing around Naruto's hand, protecting him from the flames. Naruto yanked said hand forward before he buried a fist in his gut. Roshi's eyes went wide. Naruto pulled back and delivered 5 punches to his chest, knocking him senseless. He was skidded back on his feet. He gripped his chest as he dropped down to his knee. He looked up, panting heavily, one of his eyes closed. Those punches take quite the... He then leaned over and started to cough. showing that the punches affect him greater than he thought. It was the aura that surrounded Naruto's hand, the spiritual energy. The power was traveling through his entire body. "Guess I can't afford to take you as a joke," Roshi said. His skin started to burn off. Power exploded out of him like a lava. The next moment, standing in his place was a giant, four-tailed monkey that beat on his chest. He opened his mouth and spat multiple lava balls towards Naruto. Naruto started to flicker in and out of reality, dodging them really easily. Roshi power could be sensed from a distance away. The sensors of the village immediately reporting this. Onoki, fearing the worst, decided to head out there himself, along with a team, as he quickly relayed orders to those who he left in command, in control, as he flew towards where the power was being sensed. As Naruto appeared in front of the giant monkey, he placed his hand right on the thing's chest. Even the four-tail was shocked by his speed. Yellow flames gathered around Naruto's palm. Despite the very powerful nature that the monkey possessed, when the attack hit him, he was launched. His chest violently burnt. He crashed through the foliage and the trees. Naruto started to approach, about to take the beast's power until he flipped in the air, dodging the head that would have squashed down on him, courtesy of the five-tailed donkey horse. As their eyes met, the thing's tails lashed out. Naruto twisted and grabbed one of them. He flipped himself upwards before he vanished and came down, slicing said tail off with his blade. The thing howled in pain before running forward, tearing the ground out, ripping it apart. However, Naruto was long gone. "Hado," said Naruto. "Vortex of death." Naruto started to spin his blade vertically, as he just kept on spinning his blade until the spiritual energy around it turned into a vortex. The next moment, it turned into a goddamn natural disaster, as both tailed beasts were encapsulated inside of it. They were being thrown from left to right, rather violently as well, their bodies slamming against each other with critical force. Naruto did not stop it as he held his other hand out. "Hado," he said. Yellow flaming flash, releasing a wave of yellow energy that came crashing on the vortex, eclipsing everything in a violent blast. When the smoke and dust cleared, both tail beasts were down, rather out of it. Naruto blinked as he was between them. He gripped the both of them by their flesh, peering beyond their flesh and grabbing onto their chakra. He then started to clench his fists, containing their chakra into a tiny ball of spiritual energy, concealing and keeping it shut. Once that was done, as he started to walk away, Naruto's finger twitched. The next moment, he was standing inside of a cube, and thus ended the so-called threat. Onoki said as he erased Naruto from reality, using his particle style. However, Naruto could be seen at distance, walking away, not even looking back. The look on Onoki's face was one of pure shock, as Naruto was basically ignoring him. However, he wouldn't allow that to stand. This time he fired a cube that concealed the entire place. Just arriving and not knowing what was going on as he saw the body of Roshi and Han, he made sure to create a golem that pulled them underground. The cube swallowed everything, leaving a massive, colossal crater that span going down and down. Onoki stood there, knowing that there wouldn't be anything left. These upstarts, believing that they could ignore him of all people, Akage. Onoki has felt fear in his life. Yes, he has. Once looking into the eyes of Madara Uchiha, He experienced fear like he never had before. He has felt it several times going down. He believed that fear is something that is actually good. It helps you make right decisions and not do stupid things. So when that hand rested on his shoulder, when that sensation swept him in a concealment, a cocoon, Onoki did not move an inch. Knowing that one single movement was going to cost him his life, the Kage was surprised. Had he truly let his guard down so much? Was he dealing with someone that possessed speed like the fourth Hokage? That has to be. Not only that, this person could also fly as well. Binding. Naruto muttered. Onoki was sent plummeting from the air. However, he was caught by one of his men, who let loose their technique upon Naruto, violent from each point. However, all of their attacks were blocked as a golden barrier surrounded Naruto in mid-air, keeping him safe on all angles. Naruto then flickered away. They sense him flickering in and out. He was simply blinking away until there was nothing left to sense he was gone. Onoki broke free from the binding, now more than ever believing in what he heard. This threat was far worse than any of them thought. Onoki was not sure what was his endgame, but in that moment, village pride and his own pride was not in the way. That simple hand resting on his shoulder, Onoki foresaw something that was on his own doing, but just the mere sensation. He decided to reach out to the only other person that he could 10% trust. The other person that they worked together in the past. And that was the Raikage. To warn him about the incoming threat. There were certain moments in this world that could be seen as biblical. Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha fighting at the Valley of the End, rearranging the entire land, showing such power beyond anything that anyone else in this world possessed. Onoki felt, whoever this person was, he was the very definition of such a moment. And he had to make sure that whatever he wanted did not come to fruition. Otherwise, they would all be doomed. Time skip. Word reached the Raikage rather quickly. He was surprised that Onoki would actually try to warn him of all people. Now this was actually catching his interest. This person that he was hearing about here and there, going around the elemental nation, was the same one that the people believe was a hero, killing the bad and saving the good, but now slaughtering anyone that stands in his way, going after tail beasts. Just who on earth was this individual? Time skip. Naruto was journeying towards Kumo as he sat for a moment on a nearby cliff, observing the sunset. There wasn't much in this world at the moment that brought him peace, because he was alone. No friends, no family, no one he truly cared about at the moment in this world. But very soon, he will free her, and she will be here with him. He placed a hand to his chest. He could feel her, their bond, their connection. He could feel her, despite not being anywhere close. He pulsed his spiritual energy with his chakra, wanting her to know that soon, just two more, very, very soon, he will free her. Yes, he will. Naruto turned his gaze as he closed the distance between them in a span of a second, reaching into the ground with his bare hands, tearing the creature out of it. Zetsu, for the first time in his entire life, was shocked. as Naruto looked said creature within the eyes. Both Black and Whiteside was visibly stunned, as they couldn't believe that they were noticed and caught. This wasn't something that was supposed to happen. The creature tried to move, but Naruto gripped it, holding its hand at its side. His spiritual energy wrapping around Zetsu like a blanket, restraining it with just his gaze alone. What are you? Zetsu said. Whoever or whatever this thing was, it was not from this world. It couldn't be. No human possessed. Zetsu's eyes went wide. No, that can't be. The Oda clan. How are you? You're all supposed to be back in the spiritual world. How are you here? Zetsu said, sounding terrified. You're not just any Oda. You're stronger. Far, far stronger. So you were there back then. That's the only reason why you could know that name and know what my feeling gives off. What a curious little creature you are. As Naruto leaned in and sniffed, I can smell the sensation coming from you. This power, it's from that goddess, isn't it? The one that Hagoromo locked away. His mother. Zetsu's eyes went wide. So you're that is left to bring her back in this world. Unfortunately though, that's never going to happen. Zetsu tried to escape, the Whiteside trying to use his abilities, but none of it was working. As Naruto bind him with his spiritual energy, he could not move. Hado. Electrical destruction, said Naruto. His hands sparkle. Zetsu released a violent guttural scream as both of them were zapped, ripped and zapped, frying every fracture and every part of their chakra, burning them until there was nothing left, erasing them from inside out, wiping their existence from the face of the earth. All that was left in Naruto's hands was dust. White and black dust in his palm. He brushed his hands off. He then glanced up towards the moon, his gaze fixated on said moon, unblinking, unmoving, as a tiny smile came to his face. Time skip. Naruto arrived to the land of lightning. He could feel it. They knew. He decided not to waste much time in what he was doing, knowing that the Jinchurikis would not be left unguarded like. What happened? By this time now, everyone probably knew. Everyone was on alert. So Naruto headed straight there. He made his way. The village seemed normal, everything going as it should be, until Naruto pulled up to the gates. Immediately, they recognized his description. Descriptions of him going around a lot. The markings gave it away. Weapons were drawn until a seismic explosion reduced the gates and the guards to rubbles and dust. Naruto stepped in. The moment he did so, envoys, special envoys from the land of lightning, thrust towards him in a formation. Weapons swing, kunai stabbed, attacks, ranging from all kinds of lightning attacks. However, like the beast he was, Naruto cut them down. Stepping through the gates, smoke and dust brimming behind him. His gaze fixated on the people, paralyzed with fear. In that very moment, Naruto let it loose. His spiritual energy, reaching critical max before, erupting like a geyser. In 1 second, 100 drops. In another, 1,000 fell. The citizens of the Land of Light and the civilians, ninjas included, genins, chunins, and even some jonins, unable to withstand the mental toll. The spiritual energy was just too much. Their bodies immediately folded as they collapsed, passed out from the strain. Naruto walked with a purpose, his gaze fixated on where the strongest power was. He could not sense the tail beasts. He had no idea where they were. So he decided to just get the information the old-fashioned way. Naruto drew his blade. As he muttered the word, release, he could feel them all running towards him. But he did not care. His power, the restraints, they were broken. As Naruto stepped into a higher form of power. So much so that the physical world was being affected. The sky darkened, the ground ruptured, the howling winds, the rain, the sun, the atmosphere, the weather, the clouds were being gathered and then dissipated, revealing the sun. It was all because of what Naruto was. A hybrid, a human and spirit combining into a godly being. His power kept on rising to unbelievable levels. His blade started to glow from the tip to the end with a dark reddish aura. His eyes changed. Instead of their usual blue, they became pitch black. Balance, emptiness, clear darkness. Naruto combined it all together before he slashed. The power that he released stretched in an arc as Naruto cut through the village. He cut through the 3 mountains that were situated together with a bridge. Cutting through the Raikage Tower. Naruto split them in goddamn half. The power kept on surging as it split and ruptured so much. Those that were too small, like 2-story or 3-story buildings, they were wiped away. Hundreds dying from one attack. As Naruto stood there, his cloak bellowing in the wind. He stepped forward. Unusual sounds started to come from his cloak. As Naruto was connected to the spirit world, the Oda clan, they were feeling him. They were sensing his power, his connection due to his body. He could see all. He could witness all. As all the Odas held their hand out, their power actually invigorating him, making him even more stronger. Not that he needed that. Something they soon come to realize. The spirit world was being siphoned. Every single ounce of energy was pouring into Naruto. The problem was, the spirit world energy was limitless. As Naruto started to change, because of the power that he was drawing on, his body started to get more muscular. As his body tried to compact the power down into his legs and his arms. For more mobility, more speed. Spirit energy even run through his own blood, fluctuating through his mind. The Raikage crashed down, along with his Volt. A special group of Anvus, 10 of them. The Raikage wastes no time with a lariat. Naruto and him dashed forward. However, when the both of them stopped, the Raikage arm was severed. Even himself was shocked. He lost in a test of speed. He lost in a test of speed seconds ago. As the Raikage and Naruto both move, unseen to the other people's eyes, even the Volts. The Raikage swung at 100%. However, Naruto's eyes flickered towards his before he dodged. The Raikage eyes went wide as Naruto's blade slipped through his hand. So fast that the hand was still attached when he landed. But then it fell down to the ground. But he wasn't done yet as he turned and thrust his fist towards the back of Naruto's skull. Naruto tilted his head, dodging said fist. He pointed his finger towards the Raikage and fired it. A wind force hit the Raikage with such ferocity. He was blown through 3 buildings. Before coming to a stop, the Volts rushed in to attack as Naruto weaved, dodge, move, flickering away. Naruto started to blink around so much, his foot did not touch the ground for a few seconds. He was just reappearing and disappearing. Bodies were being dissected. Limbs were being blown off. It was a massacre. 1 versus 10. And only one stood tall in just 10 seconds. These ninjas were supposed to be elites of elites. However, Naruto was going at 100%. And that was the problem. Even at 100%, his power was still raising to new heights. His clothing, his special clothing started to encapsulate him, which was strange. The white took over. It covered his face and covered his hands, like a white suit. However, inside, as you see the eye holes, the only thing that could be seen was darkness. The clothing started to merge on his very skin. As Naruto's power started to rise even more, he stepped forward, looking like some kind of creature, a demon. The Raikage attacked him once again. Naruto purposely dodged his punch with ease. He stepped back before he placed his fist on the Raikage's chest. Naruto pushed his fist forward. The force that came from it launched the man once again. But this time, though, Naruto flashed into his chest, crashing him through the earth. His durable body allowed him to get back up as he tried to hit Naruto. Naruto weaved under his punch, showing just how much faster he was. He flickered around the Raikage. Naruto was flickering so fast it seems like there was 10 of him. That's how he killed the Volts. The Raikage started to punch, but his attacks were only hitting after images. All of them were. The Raikage felt the sword pressing against his throat. He blinked. Even then, the after images still stand, as all of their weapons were pressing against his throat. This is not possible, he thought to himself. This couldn't be possible. This literally made no sense. Where are they? Said Naruto. The Raikage gritted his teeth. He refused to talk though. I'm going to ask you once more. Where are they? Said Naruto. However, the Raikage refused. You're going to have to kill me. I'm not allowing you to take anything from me. He was stubborn that way. Naruto held his hand out. Binding, he said. But this was no normal binding though. Golden chains erupted from his spiritual energy and encapsulated the Raikage, a much stronger form of binding. The man collapsed down to the ground. Naruto then elevated himself into the sky. He spoke so quietly and yet his voice spread all around the goddamn village. Jinjulikis, I know you're here. I can feel your power. It is recent. There is no way that you've already left this place. However, your location is being protected by perhaps Fuinjutsu seals that is stopping me from sensing your power. 1 minute. That is all that you have. If the both of you are not out here in 1 minute, I'll wipe Kumo off the map, said Naruto. All the available ninjas that were helping, the victims of the chaos, were rather shocked. How is this possible? Did he defeat the Raikage? How was he saying that? He should be dead by now. But he was not. Naruto started to count in his mind. He held his sword to the sky as he swiped. The wave that came off his blade eradicated a section of Kumo. Naruto kept on counting. Buildings were being destroyed as the Raikage vigorously struggled. Attacks were launched from each side to Naruto, but he cut right through chakra like it was some kind of special property. He literally cut the atoms of chakra, destroying the factor that made chakra what it was. Naruto held his blade up. This time a dark red energy swirled around it, his power reaching critical stage. What he was going to do as he was almost finished counting. However, a smile marred his face as Naruto turned his gaze. Clear in the distance in a couple of seconds, Naruto landed on the stone platform, both of them stepping out of where they were hiding. Both of them angry. The 8-tailed Jinchuriki wasn't even rapping, something that he loved to do as they saw the destruction. The 2-tailed Jinchuriki immediately raged, taking on her blue cloak. They were done hiding. They wouldn't allow him to kill everyone and destroy their village. They were going to kill him. Finally, Rita said, Naruto, I'm coming. However, as Naruto was thinking that, someone arrived behind both of the tailed beasts. What happened next not only surprised Naruto, but it surprised both Jinchurikis as well. But guys, be end so right here. If you want to see next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.